So here's the thing. Have you ever wondered why Intel did not release a 3-core CPU? If the answer is no, then thanks for clicking anyway, but if the answer is yes, then you have come to the right place. I'm your host Santiago from Tech Warehouse and welcome to my first, but no last, YouTube video. So with that out of the way, let's begin with the video, shall we? So I'm sure you have heard about a 3-core CPU from the likes of AMD. They're from 2X3. As an example, was really a quad-core with a core disabled that you can later enable to make it a quad-core for the price of a 3-core CPU. It was great, right? But what about Intel? Intel moved from a single core from the likes of Pentium 4 to a dual core like an i3 and then quad cores like an i5 and i7. And now with Coffee Lake we are on 6 cores. The matter is that they skipped the 3-core idea altogether. Nope, you're not meant to exist, my friend. So I was like, hey, let's just see what a 3-core CPU can do. As for why I did it, well, mainly because I wanted to see if there was much of a difference between the 3-core CPU. What is this? To Santiago Rivera from the CEO of YouTube's physical payment division. What the fuck is this? Oh my god.
Damn, I know those six were going too well.
And I also did it because I wanted to see if a 3-core CPU with 6 threads could be something like an i5 which has 4 cores and 4 threads. But without any further to say, here's the test bench along with the benchmarks. Oh, and if it wasn't clear already, this is like a simulation. Intel did never release a 3-core CPU, so I'm just disabling one core my 4770S and making it a 3-core and keeping Hyper-threading now so it has 6 threads. We're good? We're clear? Fantastic. Now that we're clear on that, let me show you the benchmarks. Should just use sound effects though. Boy oh boy, those benchmarks were interesting. Sure, we all knew that the Core i7 was going to win, but the interesting part was that the 3-core 6-thread 3-core 6-thread, that's too long, was that the i4 was basically train plus with the i5, and even though the i5 won the synthetic ones, the i4 actually won the gaming benchmarks, so that's pretty interesting. This makes me wonder how much better the Core i7 9700K is going to be against the Core i7 8700K, because sure it has 2 more cores, but it also has 4 less threads. So if the i4 wins against the i5 on gaming benchmarks, then it's not like I have money to buy any of those though. So after seeing that the 3-core CPU was so similar to the i5, I decided to do a little bit of research and I came across this site called Super User where someone was asking this. So the guy here is asking why are the number of cores in a processor normally even? And the answer to that is given by this user called John Just, which says like this. The primary reason is because most cores are rectangular. Creating a multi-core processor is done by mirroring a core layout, mirror, rather than stepping to keep like resources on adjacent cores together. During testing, a defect may prohibit a core from performing to spec. In that case, the core may be disabled and the probe will be solved with one less core. Some probes may have an odd number of cores because room is needed for features like RAM or regulators, though that last part we don't really see in CPUs. So according to that, the reason we don't see 3 or 5 or 7 core CPUs anymore is because it's easier to mirror one set of cores instead of doing them one by one. Also, AMD launched the 3-core CPU in an era where the best thing Intel could offer was the Core 2 Quad. As an example, the Q6600 was $200, and the next best thing Intel could offer was the Intel Core 2 Duo, which were around 100 to 150 bucks. So getting the Phantom 2X3, which was the 3-core for about 150, made sense. You get the best of both worlds, low price and higher core count. Oh, and you could enable the one core that AMD had disabled from the factory, so you basically got a quad core. Another reason we don't see those kinds of processors anymore, I think, is because of product segmentation, because people are more likely to jump from dual cores to quad cores. And basically that dual core will be the company's 3-core CPU. That you can just disable one set and sell it like that, and people are still gonna buy it. Also, reading a little bit more on the forum, I found an answer that reads like this. He states that companies may have started to integrate two cores together. Basically, they share cache and possible other resources in a very tight fashion. Therefore, if a core goes bad, then they just have to disable the whole pair or quad. According to him, this is a big reason why we see 6-core and 12-core CPUs these days. Also note that these answers were given back in 2014, so that's why 6 and 12-core CPUs were a big deal back then. But that pretty much wraps it up, guys. So thanks for watching, and feel free to leave feedback. Like, this is my first video. Fun fact, I thought this was going to take a whole day, but it ended up taking a week because I needed to learn how to edit, I needed to learn how to use Photoshop, I needed to learn a lot of stuff. So the point is to make kind of a daily tech videos, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it just right off the bat. So I may have to improve my schedules and all of that. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Please feel free to leave feedback, and again, thanks for watching. See you next time.